Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. What a game, what a 0-0. This is why when people say 0-0, like there's no goals in it. No, watch the game. Enjoy the game. Cracking 0-0. Went to extra time, went to penalties, and it was won 6-5 by Liverpool. And then they showed the crowd, right? And there was a moment there, and I was watching it, and I was thinking, what the hell am I going to say about Liverpool? What the hell can I say about Liverpool that is new? And then it showed the crowd. And there was someone holding a flag. And there was a word there. And I thought, yeah, that is it. That is Liverpool down to a T. And the word was defiance. And that element of defiance was, I mean, it's absolutely soaked into this team. And it was shown throughout that game. And look, Chelsea had... It's tough, isn't it? Because when it's as tight as that, when it comes down to something as fine as a penalty, it's cruel. It is really, really cruel. But the sort of moment and the narrative that we want to go with and the plaudits that Liverpool get because they got over the line, they deserve that. Because the season they've had has been absolutely astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. And let's be honest. We talk about Man City, we talk about Liverpool. People talk about this sort of thing against Man City. And I think the thing is, and the reason why I prefer this Liverpool side to the Man City side is slightly down to the style of play. Slightly down to the fact that they give the opposition a bit of a chance at times. And again, I think that happened in this game. And as I say, you need two teams to make a great final. And I think it was a great final. And I think Chelsea actually provided that as well. And none of those Chelsea players should be sort of, hung out to dry because one of them missed a penalty. But the reason I think I prefer Liverpool is that defiance, is that, the squad that's been put together there and the players that are within that squad. And what Jurgen Klopp instills in the team, it is, I keep coming back to that word, it really is. It's a great summing up of Liverpool. And even in this game itself, look at the players that went off the pitch. Look at what even happened in the penalty shootout and how, again, it might look romantic, but they find a way. This Liverpool side continue to find a way. And actually, I guess the greatest compliment you can give Man City is that Man City have to be pretty much perfect to win things. And because Liverpool are just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Let's have a look at the game briefly, because there are some sort of elements that I think were crucial. I think the substitutions obviously played a bit of a part in the game. It was a ding-dong affair. Pulisic, we need to talk about him. Mason Mount, if that's going to hurt him down the road, missing that penalty. That's 5 finals he's lost now. And the squad game for Liverpool, got to talk about that as well, because I think that just plays a huge part of it. And it's one of those where you can go through the lineups here. Let's talk about Chelsea for a second, and we'll come back to Liverpool, because I think, look, there's 2 teams in this FA Cup final, and it's great, isn't it? Like there's so much to talk about the FA Cup, and even I put out a tweet and someone was saying one final is bigger than another final. So, can we leave that? Can we just leave that at some point? Because it's so hilarious. We're talking about a quadruple and how unbelievable that would be. But at the same time, we're belittling some of the competitions. Let's just can we just let every game matter? Because I'll tell you what, every fan watching at home, watching around the world, or watching in that stadium, or on the edge of their seat, and we're desperate for their team to win. And that's all that matters. So it winds me up when we kind of go, which one's bigger though? Which one's bigger? And I know I'm a massive culprit for it. I have to make certain titles that get you through the door. And I apologise for doing that. But please always know that there will be an adult discussion, apart from the podcast, when I put forward titles like that. And for Liverpool and this FA Cup final, and because it was competitive, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but this is why we need to safeguard competition within the Premier League as well. Because, let's go back to, and I'm not trying to beat up Man City here, but let's have a look at, say, Man City when they beat Watford 6-0. The competition isn't there. And I know that's a broader talking point, but what was so fantastic about this game, despite it being 0-0, not a single goal scored, is it was 2 teams having a bit of a go at each other, and that the competition was there. And I think that always needs to be remembered when we're talking about the league, the distribution of money, and all those different things. But I'm getting off the point here. Let's talk about Chelsea. I mean, Edward Mendy had a fantastic game. I think these are... In terms of making saves, these are the 2 best goalkeepers in maybe not the world, but certainly the Premier League. I'll probably have to do a bit more research on the world, but the Premier League is the best league in the world, so quite possibly. I think Alisson is the best keeper in the world. I was going to say that a little bit later in the video, but let's say it now. I think he is. the save in the penalty when they need him to do that after Mane's made that miss. It's the strong hand, the amount of times he saves them. Early in the game, he saves them. They had a few big chances at the start of the game. After the first 20 minutes when Liverpool were miles on top. And then Edward Mendy, the only reason I'd probably put Edward Mendy, who probably is far more imposing, the wingspan of the man is absolutely incredible. When I was watching Liverpool players take their penalties, I was watching it and I was just thinking, how do you get past this guy? Somehow they were able to do so enough times to get themselves over the line, but he's absolutely amazing. The only difference for me between Alisson and Mendy is probably the distribution of Mendy at times can be a little bit dicey, but no doubt an absolutely fantastic player, an unbelievable player. Alisson, with that pass, I don't know if you saw it in the first half, he plays this ball with the outside of his foot to Luis Diaz. It then transpires a little bit, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold, whose long-range passing was absolutely unbelievable in this game. And I probably want to go through each Liverpool player because I think that's important, actually. I'm intrigued by the passes, actually. How many long balls? 16. 10 of those he made. I mean, he's a phenomenon in terms of his long-range passing, the way he finds his man. But back to Chelsea. I thought Thiago Silva showed the class that he had. I thought in the first half of the game, they struggled a little bit, and I don't think the average positions will totally say it. A little bit, maybe. There was that sort of disconnect. You can see it. There you go. It was a sort of disconnect between this Chelsea side and the Liverpool team. And the Liverpool team with Henderson... let me draw right here. With Henderson, with Keita, and Mane dropping a little bit deeper, and then Thiago, of course, as well. Robertson out here. You got your two centre-backs. And Trent also was coming in narrow as well. Overran that midfield too for the first 15 minutes massively. Thiago Silva likes to drop a little bit, and so you had someone like Reece James going up on Robertson, and then just a really big sort of gap here that Luis Diaz was able to get into and exploit quite regularly because Mane was dropping deep a lot of the time. They got themselves together. They became a bit more narrow after that 35-minute period and actually had some massive, massive chances in the game. And the bulk of those fell to Pulisic. I thought Lukaku, again, it was just a little bit disjointed with him. It doesn't totally click, does it? Although he was a bit of a nuisance, and one of those chances for Pulisic did come from him. Here's the question for the comments here when it comes to Chelsea fans and Pulisic, and actually US fans as well. With Pulisic, if you're being really, really honest, I watch him and I'm excited by him, and I think he's got so much to offer. I think he's a fantastic footballer, but he feels like a bit of a nearly man. And I know that's a really cruel thing to say, but I watch him and I think of the FA Cup final against Arsenal, and I can't even remember. Did he score? Maybe he scored, but I know he came off and he had some moments. Dortmund has some moments, looks like a live wire, looks like a great player, great energy, great attitude about him, but it's always sort of it's very nearly all the time. Let me know what you think about that. I'll leave that one there for the comments there, but he sort of had those chances and struggled in a couple of key finals for him, and I just thought he huffed and puffed, and actually it was Lukaku who came off instead of Pulisic. Pulisic stayed on the pitch. Sorry, I was showing him there. Pulisic stayed on the pitch, but and that's the difference when it comes to a cup final, when you get those chances, especially against a Liverpool side, that I feel like it is running on fumes a little bit. I do feel like it is running on fumes a bit, and we'll get into that in a second. When you get those opportunities, it's one of those where you've got to bloody take them. You really, really got to take them. And when it comes to big chances, actually both teams missed quite a few, to be honest. Let me just show you that. I think it was 3 big chances for Chelsea in this game, just 1 big chance for Liverpool. Liverpool still had their moments. I think Diogo Jota missed a sitter as well, didn't he? 7 shots in the side of the box to 10. Tight game elsewhere. Chelsea will probably walk away from it thinking that we had a really good opportunity there. And if we've got people who take their chances, I think Alonso had one as well, then they go and win that final. But again, I come back to that word, defiance. Liverpool just will not be beaten a lot of the time. It's absolutely phenomenal what they do. Thiago Silva, I mean, it's going to be such a shame when he kind of walks away. And it's so lovely to see those sort of older statesmen just sort of run a game. Reece James had some great distribution at times, and overall very, very solid performance from him. Mason Mount struggled for the first 45 minutes and then started to get into it a little bit more. I thought Jorginho was Chelsea's best player on the day. Showed great tenacity and good passing ability as well. Alonso, especially once Salah went off, did get a bit of joy down that left-hand side, and Rudiger, we know what Rudiger does. He's always pretty solid. Lukaku, I don't want to talk about the touches touches that he has, because it's not that important. What's important is the chances, I guess, that he's getting, and if he's taking those chances. He had one shot with his left foot. It was a tough chance, but he didn't take it. And he's having good moments. I think he's gently growing into it all. But still, I guess, in a cup final, it was just that... despite the good moments that Chelsea had, it just probably was a little bit disjointed. And that's why they weren't able to get the goals and get themselves over the line. But today's about Liverpool. It really, really is. It's their day. And look at the substitutions that had to be made. And big players that have come off. And we'll find out what happens with Salah coming off, which is a huge loss in a cup final. An absolutely huge loss. The likes of Fabinho not even playing in this game. The likes of Virgil van Dijk having to go off as well. That would be a fear, wouldn't it? Robertson coming off as well. And so the players that are left on the pitch at the end of it, that's where we've got to talk about the squad. Because this is 60 games. And look, the management of the squad has been very good. This year, injuries-wise, it's been good, hasn't it? You haven't lost that many players and you've had a bit more depth in the team as well. But you've got to talk about Tsimikas, who comes on and has kind of needed a year but now found his feet and is a great option coming off the bench, so they don't lose that much in terms of the quality that they've got. James Milner, what a legend he is for the club, the work rate that he puts in. Bit lucky with his penalty, I've got to be honest. But again, you look at that squad, look at the players that come on, and they just find a way. Firmino as well. I think Firmino could have come on a little bit earlier, but because of the previous injury to Salah and the change that happened there, it had to be that way. And then you get to the penalties, and it was a ding-dong, wasn't it? Because you got two quality goalkeepers in there. But again, the squad players come forward, and the quality of them, absolutely fantastic. Milner stepping up, Firmino stepping up, Tsimikas stepping up. For the Mane, of course, has that miss. Ross Barkley, can we talk about that, by the way? I mean, just leave it. I would. When they go, oh, well, he's scored loads in training, but we're going to pile this new outrageous pressure on him for the penalty shootout. I just don't get it. I just don't see the point of it. I really, really don't understand it. Mason Mount, of course, misses the big one. It was a poor penalty. I think he was trying be too technique-y, if that makes any sense. If you watch it back, he's sort of bouncing and trying to kind of just concentrate on that technique, but he doesn't really concentrate on striking the ball properly, and it's a strong hand from Alisson, but it's a save that he probably should be making. You could say that Mendy maybe should have made a couple of saves earlier on in the penalty shootout. The Milner one was definitely one of those ones. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, I mean, what a guy. The fact that, he takes that penalty, scores that goal, and then not even a celebration. I was waiting for the Stuart Pearce burst through. Never came, which was a shame. But 120 minutes, and this is where I will finish the story with a bit of a monologue on Liverpool once again, because I think you have to come back to that. And for Chelsea fans, this might be one way you want to switch off now, which will kill my retention, but we can live with that. Because they did get over the line, and they continue to get over the line. But even the players that they bring in, I thought Konaté was fantastic in this game as well. There was a moment where Kante tries to go past him, and Konaté goes, nope. He's come in and fit in brilliantly. And I guess it all comes down to one man, actually. And that's where we have to finish off this sort of rant monologue or whatever it might be. Because, look, I just love football, right? And you love the best bits of football. And the best bits of football are hard work, are sportsmanship at times, but playing with a smile on your face, giving absolutely everything, allowing yourself to give yourself into desire and passion. That's what it's about. And essentially driving towards glory. And Jurgen Klopp is an absolutely unbelievable... What a guy. Just to have one hug from the man. Wouldn't it be unbelievable? Because what he creates is a brotherhood there. And you can't not like that team. You just can't. I know there's a lot of fans from a lot of clubs that have problems with Liverpool and their fans and all that shit. I'm not bothered. I like this Liverpool team. I really, really do. How can you not? The intensity with which they play, the flair that they play with. I haven't even spoken about Thiago. I haven't even spoken about him. He's everything. He is my favourite player in football. And those kind of players, they come along once every sort of 6-7 years. For me, it's like the likes of, Pirlo and Paul Scholes and Thiago and Ali Fowlin. Look him up. But this Liverpool side, don't know when they're beaten. You got someone like Henderson sitting in there in the number 6 role, just gets on with it. 120 minutes. He's screaming at the team. It's desire. It's passion. They're winners. They're winners. And whatever happens with the rest of the season, if they don't win the Premier League, and who knows what will happen with these injuries to key players, they will sustain. They will continue to be defiant, and they got over the line today, and they should be super proud of themselves. It's just an astonishing achievement of what Jurgen Klopp has put together in terms of that mix. And yeah, you get a bit of fortune. The likes of Curtis Jones comes through, the likes of Trent comes through, but you bring, you turn Henderson into a new player. You take Salah to a new level. You buy guys from Southampton, and you buy guys from Hull City. You got buy guys from Charlton, who has a good couple of years and has to come off. You have people like Konaté comes through and just tears it up. Literally, you go through the whole team. It's just phenomenal. And you're allowed to wax lyrical on days like this when it's an FA Cup. Luis Diaz, a joke, absolute joke, the way that he played, that could continue to run. And I guess, look, they might even draw the game against Southampton because they've given absolutely everything, as has this Chelsea team. As has the Chelsea team, but they didn't win it. And this Liverpool side is one of the greatest. Really, really is. Really, really is. Unbelievable. I know I've said that quite a few times. I'm just trying to think of other names in there. James Milner, Firmino, the years of service he's provided, Divock Origi, and the goals that he's scored. But it comes down to this man every single time. Jurgen Klopp. What a career. Points per match, 2.9. Just ridiculous. And we must remember, when he goes, it won't be this good for Liverpool fans. So enjoy every second of it. But it certainly wasn't this. I don't think it's ever been. Certainly in the Premier League era, since I've been watching football, I've never seen anything like this with Liverpool. He's completely revolutionised a club that, yes, had the history, but certainly didn't have the structure in place. And then, of course, the intangibles. The intangibles are everything. The leadership, the desire, the fact that he said, I saw in an interview, players can be susceptible to feeling weak. And when you've played 60-odd games, that's inevitable. And I think there are little elements of that. They're sort of teetering, but they're phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And congratulations, you won the FA Cup, which should never be sniffed at. So there you go. If you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the like button as well. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In particular, Chelsea fans, if you've stuck to this point, I apologise for going on about Liverpool, but they're just a special club and special team right now with a very, very special manager. Anyway, lots of videos on the horizon. Thanks for watching. See you later.